Everybody out there, how you doing? This is Sanak Obi, and this is my first. Actually, I think it's my second time I did a live stream. So I just want to make some announcements. Basically, what's gonna happen is I'm launching. Well, I already launched a website called TainoRadio.com, and you can find some links to some social media, some projects I'm up to. But this year in 2021, I'm really pushing hard on Taino Radio, and Taino Radio can be listened to on blogtalkradio.com, Guasabara 1491. You can go on my website, tainoradio.com, and you can click on the link and see what's on. I'm working on several shows, weekly shows, and one show that I'm really determined to hit home is the whole phenomenon, disgusting phenomenon of missing women, indigenous women, and also boys and girls, and here in North America. And eventually we're going to expand it to internationally. The whole sex trafficking industry is just uncontrollable. It's hitting home a lot of our communities in indigenous world. So I'm going to dedicate a show, and I recruited for one who's a Native American rapper, and she's also an ambassador against sex trafficking, and she's going to be joining me weekly on hitting home updated news about these missing women, children, both male and female children who go missing. And a lot of these children, they end up either murdered or part of the sex trafficking industry, pedophilia, and so on. People that know me personally know part of my life history as a survivor of sexual abuse as a child. Roman Catholic Church continues to harbor many pedophiles. So we're going to be talking about these issues. Also, different fraternities that harbor predators who are pedophiles and so on. And it's different levels. It's different levels of this mental illness that is just accepted by many in society and also institutionally and the world in general. Also, I'm gonna invite different Taino folks into the show to discuss what's going on with them. What's happening in their lives and how they're improving. Oh, I got a phone call. So basically, it's important to understand that current events is crucial, and as we all experience on January 6th, terrible, terrible issues going on. Recently, I was asked, why are you so adamant, about working either with the FBI or with law enforcement trying to capture or trying to report a lot of these people who have been who are basically terrorists, domestic terrorists, part of white supremacy community. Well, my whole thing is, and just like the tradition of Native Americans that served in different military units like the Army, U.S. Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Buccaneers in Puerto Rico. Uh, I am like them. I live in America. I am American, but I'm Taino first. I'm an indigenous Caribbean first. That's my identity. But I am American. And this is Mother Earth, Turtle Island. We defend her no matter what. I choose nonviolence. I try to do my best to work within the system. But it's very important to understand that we can't live in a bubble. Activism is very, very crucial. It echoes the old warrior societies, warriorship, and the way we do warriorship now. For me personally, the best way is through nonviolence and working within the system. And the system right now is definitely controlled by white supremacy, institutional racism, and so on. And people of color are not innocent to this because we have prejudices as well. Ashley McBride, how you doing, Ashley? Thanks for being here. All right, thank you. In Taino, it's called Bomatum. Let me write it down. Bomatum. Bomatum. Thank you for being here, Ashley. And basically, I'm trying to promote I'm trying to promote my website. It's called tainoradio.com. It's going to be, I'm trying to get a daily shows talking about indigenous news, trying to get some activists involved, both in the Taino community and also in the indigenous community internationally. At the end of the day, we can all trace our lineage to the indigenous peoples or whatever land you're from. For me, it's the Caribbean. I just went over my DNA report again, and I'm trying to decipher what all that means, little by little, with genetic coding and so on. So we're going to talk about that in shows as well, trying to help people out. And it's not about blood quantum. That's definitely not what the show's about. But it's about helping people figure out the DNA, the limits of it, and also the possibilities. And tainoradio.com, you can click on and you can get into the shows. I invite anyone to come in and talk. Right now, I got 4 shows that are going to be produced weekly. I'm trying to get 7. And it's very, very important. I'm trying to get on YouTube as well to do some live shows. So basically, also the language, the Taino language, Boninke Naiki, one of the dialects by Javier Hernandez. We're going to be talking about that in the shows and so on. Ashley, all right, Rican, born in New York, living in Florida. Binini, trying to connect with my spirit and heritage. Can't wait for the podcast. Oh, that's awesome. We're definitely going to get down with that. Binini in Florida, that's one of the homelands. It's interesting. I just read an article. Professor Villar, believe from the University of Pennsylvania, they isolated a haplogroup. A haplogroup is, I don't want to get into it now, but A, B, C, D, X is usually the letters that's connected to your DNA. And haplogroup A2 is the majority and the highest in Puerto Rico, in Borinquen. And they isolated the A2 to Florida. It seems like Florida was the original migration from the last of the migration from Florida, the homeland, to to the homeland, to Borinquen, Puerto Rico. And when I read this, I said, you know what? That's why I love North American culture. I love my brothers and sisters up north. Why, man? I'm from the north too. So it seems like 5,000 years ago, Florida was the spot. And then from Florida, some went to the Yucatan, which is Mexico. Back then, it was North America. It was just all part of one people. When the United States put those borders, they became Apache and so on, and the rest became Mexican. What's up with that? We're all indigenous anyway. So, hey, what's up, April? 4-1 is in the house. I was just talking about you in our show last night. So, Nebraska in the house. We got Florida. We got Nebraska. I love it. So basically, oh yeah, so the Boricua, the indigenous peoples, 5,000 years ago, they managed to end up in Florida. Then they went to Yucatan. Then you got Cuba, Dominican Republic, or Quisqueya, Haiti, and eventually Borinquen. So that's my lineage that I've been learning. And also with the oral tradition, which is, I think for me, is more important. But because the Spaniards, they massacred and murdered and they destroyed documents, DNA is a tool we can use. And we're going to talk about that in the show, how we can use it as a tool, but not like a Bible, you know. Yeah, so we're gonna do again. In summary, we're gonna talk about the sex trafficking industry. We're gonna try to expose as much as we can and support those that are missing. We got to bring you back home. And for many of them who have been murdered, they need that proper burial. We're all sacred, and we have to bring these predators to justice. So 4-1 and 9, we're going to hit that show. And then we're going to also talk about music and activism. As a Taino, we're not isolated. We don't live in a bubble. We all work together as one. And so we're going to dedicate a show to trying to bring everyone together. I keep looking down, but there's the camera. What's up? So basically, tainoradio.com. Go into it. It's fresh. I'm launching it. There's a click in it where you can go into the shows, into the podcast, and which is blogtalkradio.com, and we see what we can do. Oh, my husband's going to get us some DNA tests. All right. Listen, it's a tool. In the Caribbean, on purpose, people was when they did the census, they were looking at indigenous families, and what they put was they put white. Sometimes they put mestizo, and sometimes when you had an honest person, they'll put indio or Indian. But for most of the situation, the census, they put white. Paper genocide. Paper genocide. When Theodore Roosevelt in the 1898, when he showed up in Borinquen, Puerto Rico, after during the Spanish American War, he looked around, and this is his exact words: "I'm on the Navajo reservation," because he couldn't believe all the indigenous people he was looking at. That's his exact word. "I'm in the Navajo reservation." Let me paraphrase. What the hell am I doing here? Yo, what's up? I'm in Navajo land. And the rest is history. The exploitation continued, institutional racism, and so on. And the struggle continues. So yeah, get those test results. If you need help, I'm gonna help you out. Unfortunately, these companies, what they do is they take the last migration into your bloodline. They give them the highest percentages. So, for example, I'll give you a quick example. According to my test, I'm like 59% um, European. Okay, according to my test results. But when you look at the timeline, there was a Spaniard and there was a Portuguese that came in invaded my DNA um, around 1820, around there. Okay, so from 1820 to now, I'm European. But guess what? When you look at my maternal line, my mom, she's haplogroup A2, Native American. So if you follow the migration of A2, you're talking about I think it was like 60,000 years. Excuse me, 20,000 years plus. So how am I 59% European if my mom's lineage in North America, in the Caribbean, is over 20,000 years? Like, what's up with that? So the math is all messed up. So don't look at the highest numbers. You got to reverse it. Okay, you got to reverse it. So we talk about that. And by skin color, many were black categories. It's true. They went by the color. Actually, I found what is it? My great uncle served with the Bonicaneers, and online I found his military registry card, and it said, no lie, one day I'm gonna post it. It said that he's Malaysian, and I found that a lot. They will put Malaysian. This is the U.S. Army doing this. So basically, they looked at the person. Oh wow, he looks Asian with brown skin. Okay, Malaysian. There you go. It's interesting how they did that. They wouldn't say indigenous though. So wow, a lot of great stuff going to come in 2021. We're going to dedicate current events as well on Taino Radio. Again, we don't live in a bubble. We have to talk about what's going on in the world. And this is Turtle Island here in the U.S., and we have to defend her. We have to defend her through, earth rights, she has rights. She's our mother. So we're not isolated. So we can't really say, oh, I'm not going to get involved. We have to get involved. Look what happened in Standing Rock. So, man, sound like I'm rambling. But basically, TainoRadio.com. I always say Guasabara, which means war in Taino, but it's a non-violent war against ignorance and arrogance. But we're going to take it a step further. And 1492, the invasion occurred. And this is 2021. The same struggle continues. So I want to recruit all of you to come on in. We need to hear your voice. If you're just starting out and understanding your indigenous roots, we want to hear from you. If you've been on the movement for 30, 40, 50 years, we want to hear from you as well. So you're going to tune in. Okay, so April says, I believe groups were black, white, red, yellow. There you go. You got the 4 directions there. Um, yes, I love learning. Yep, we're gonna learn a lot. We're gonna learn together, and it's good to use social media because it brings us together. I remember when I don't want to date myself, but I remember when I started dating for the first time. My girlfriend lived in Puerto Rico. That was before email, so we had to wait for the mail. We often had to wait at least a week and a half when we were faithful in writing. So I send mine out. She'll get it in a week and a half. Then a week and a half later, I'll get her letter. Awesome, man. That was the good times, right? But don't worry, we got social media now, right? I don't know if anyone ever used pagers. Imagine using pagers now. Wow. So, oh, Ashley's saying she's just starting out. That's awesome. Welcome to the indigenous universe. Okay, that's amazing. We're gonna help you out, Ashley. Just tune in, okay? And I'd just like to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm gonna sign off now. I'm here at Borinquen Neighborhood Health Center. I finished my shift at 4 o'clock, and we're gonna if you live in the New York City area, come on out, visit me, Luis Sanacori Ramos. If not, you can look me up in tainoradio.com or email me tainoradio1491 at gmail.com. Just want to leave you a short story. There was a woman. She was an elder in Quisqueya, what we call Dominican Republic, Iguamana. And according to history, she was so powerful as a chiefess that the other chiefs would hide her. And she was so powerful and respected that they tried to protect her as much as they could in the late 1400s. And guess what happened? The Spanish found her and they hung her. So their deaths are not in vain. We're here to learn, we're here to advocate, and we're here to unite. Very, very important. So, in the memory of our ancestors, here we are. We're alive and well. Don't be afraid of those butterflies rumbling in your stomach. It's all right. We're going to learn together. So thank you for tuning in. Those that tune in, thank you for writing in, Ashley. Good luck. That's right. Oh, wait a minute. There's Dilo Zero. I decided at 40 to go to college to be an anthropologist because I want to research on a higher level. Whoa, that's it. It's using those tools. Okay. You remind me of Chief Plentycool of the Crow Nation. In his home right now, it's a museum. But in the 1800s, he was talking about we cannot win this war with the bow and arrow. We need to be educated. Our youth need to be educated. So when we learn what society, this invader, when we learn their ways, then we are their equal, and we will never be their victim. So that's what it's all about. Jen Castro. So use that tool. Use education. It's one of the tools. Okay. You will never be a victim. But we have to help others. We have to help others. Okay, Ashley, take care. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you all soon. Yes, sir. That's right. Keep it on, Jen Castro. All right. Peace out. Takataino Boninke na. Me llamo Sana Cody. Thank you all for tuning in.